job losses, Raptors and more. You're listening to episode 419 of the unofficial Universal Orlando podcast. Hey everyone, I'm your host Tracy. Welcome to another show. And with me tonight I have Lee.
Hello everyone.
What are you giggling at?
It's been a long night already.
It's been a long night already.
And we haven't even recorded a full episode.
No, we haven't. We have no Chris or Darren. Work and...
He's eating crepes. Crepes. Sorry, Stuart.
Stuff in his face.
We'll hear about that in 2 weeks, actually.
So, as a very, very lovely replacement, we have Michelle. Hello.
Yay! Hello.
Yay!
Again, she's always here.
All girl show this week.
Oh, goodness. Definitely have more estrogen than usual, that's for sure.
Yeah. It's nice not to be outnumbered. So, right, shall we just launch straight in then?
Yeah, again, I've backloaded it, so...
Aye. Michelle, do you want to talk to us about hotel layoffs, please?
Sure. So, as we heard from Seth 2 weeks ago, Universal has closed Aventura and Sapphire Falls for the rest of the year. This appears to have led to Lowe's Hotels notifying the state of Florida last week of plans to temporarily lay off or terminate the jobs of more than 1,000 employees at hotel facilities at Universal Orlando Resort. The reasoning, obviously, is because of the unexpected circumstances of COVID-19.
Boom.
Lowe's Hotels said that they will be laying off a total of 839 workers at the Portofino Bay Hotel, Hard Rock, and Cabana Bay. Ooh.
That's a lot of people.
That is a lot of people.
It really is.
Yeah.
And then you look at, it seems that there's a lot of other people being kind of quietly laid off as well. You know, I don't want to it's nothing sort of sinister or anything, but it seems like a lot of the creative team and people have just got rid of people just to try and cut costs, and it's
heartbreaking.
Yeah, Michelle, you and I spoke about it the other day. I do worry about the future of the parks at the moment because they can only continue to take the hit that they are for it. I mean, how long can they, you know?
Yeah, I totally agree. So they're laying off people at Hard Rock and Cabana Bay, both of which are still open. So are those not hitting capacity either, even though they shut down the other hotels?
I have
Maybe
no
not.
idea. It's such a weird one because obviously it's Lowe's own the hotel, so all the staff are Lowe's staff, not Universal. And that's the strange thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we have a friend, Tracy, who works at one of the hotels, and they're all right.
I hope so.
Yeah, they are.
In Ryan.
I wasn't going to name
I'm
them.
going to name my friend.
But yes, I've spoken to her and she's all good.
Yeah.
Because Royal Pacific is still doing relatively well. Because they're
Fingers
bumping...
crossed
Michelle,
it stays that way.
yeah, Michelle, because they're bumping people from Sapphire either down into Cabana or up into...
Royal Pacific.
Yeah, that's right, isn't it?
Yep. And availability is really going away. I mean, whereas it used to be, from a travel agent standpoint, it used to be fairly simple to book last minute things for people. Now availability is actually an issue. So, I mean, to me, I felt like their plan worked. But I mean, if they're still laying off people at Cabana Bay and Hard Rock, then I don't know what that says about capacity. So I wonder if, I guess they're still also limiting the number of rooms that they're booking. Are they still spreading people out?
They must be.
They must be spreading people out because some of the rooms, the doors are next door to each other, aren't they? So I would imagine they would do every other room or something like that so you couldn't accidentally open your doors at the same time.
Yeah.
They are, but in all the times that I've stayed at Universal, actually, let me just say any hotel, not just Universal, but Universal specifically, because they don't really have rooms like across the hall from each other directly. No. Most of their rooms, the way that they're laid out, it's just one room on one side of the hallway.
Yeah.
But I can count on my hands the times that I've honestly commingled with a stranger in the hallway with the room next to me. I just don't see that being an issue.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they would do that.
To be honest, I mean, staying in Royal Pacific, those hotel corridors are really wide.
Yeah.
Right.
The thing is, whether you feel it's something that... So, Michelle, you're saying that you've never had it happen. That doesn't mean it can't happen, and they have to be seen to be making sure it doesn't happen, I suppose.
Well, and even if it did happen, their door is more than 6 feet away from mine, which is the social distance guideline in the lines at the parks. So even if we were at our doors at the same time, we're more than 6 feet apart.
Yeah, it's such a weird... Because obviously we're not going to know what the capacity is. We're going to talk about it later. The parks this weekend. Later on, that'll be an interesting conversation because it was mental.
Yes.
I'd love to know what the actual capacity the parks are, what they're allowing is that full capacity. I wonder what it is. I think I've heard 25%. I don't know whether that's true or not.
It sure looked like a lot more than 25%.
Well, like I say, we will discuss that.
Pictures can be deceiving,
yes,
I know.
Exactly. Especially because it seemed to be a lot of the pictures that people were sharing were early morning security check. So, of course, everyone's going to be there because that's when everyone descends on it. And it always looks bad there, regardless of what's going on.
Yeah. Everybody's trying to get in before they can hit capacity. So I understand that's going to be busy.
Yeah. It's just sad that we personally know people who've been laid off. And it's it's so you look back to this time last year, we were 3 or 4 weeks away from the weekender. The parks were... Horror Nights was, pretty much up and running at this point. It wasn't quite. You look how awesome Horror Nights was last year. Hagrid's hadn't been open that long. The parks were in full swing. And now you look at it and it's just like, it's a mess. It's
so sad. It's so sad to me.
And that's what I say. It worries me the long-term effect it's going to have. Because then, we, as far as travel and stuff goes, we don't even know... I love how positive this show is at the moment. That knock-on effect if travel from the UK still doesn't go ahead for quite some time. I know there's still people panicking over getting over in January and February. Yeah. What effect that's going to have. Because it's just locals at the moment for the most part.
It is.
And annual pass holders, I would say, would make up a vast majority of it, which means they're not really making any money because pass holders will go and buy merch and food and stuff, but they're not spending... You would expect your ticket money is what is making them the most, I suppose. And then now you've got that Premier Pass getting a guest in for free as well, so there's money you're missing out on as well. Right.
Well, they must not be hurting super, super bad because they are still... actively working on the Velocicoaster.
Shut up.
Or whatever it is.
Jeff Wright is clapping his friggin' hands about now, isn't he? Get that chicken suit ready.
They haven't stopped that. Disney, they shut down a lot of their projects. Universal's still chugging along on that one, so...
Yeah, we'll talk about that later as well. Yeah, it's just... I think that's probably why they've laid as many people off. I know I'm going to delve into the real world right now. Some people have been laid off at my work, and it's for that reasoning. The people who aren't being asked to come into work, it's saving money, keeping the business afloat. So I suppose you've got to look at it that way, that they're laying off all these people rather than the potential being a massively negative effect on the resort as a whole and potentially reaching a point where they're having to close the resort for good.
Right.
So you sacrifice a few for the good of everything.
Yeah.
And it's crappy. It really is, but...
It's a really strange feeling as a guest right now because I was blessed to be able to go twice over the summer. And although it wasn't like this weekend when I went. And although I really, really enjoyed being able to do everything without waits and without express passes, without waits, and without crowds and without that feeling of claustrophobia that you sometimes get. That was nice. But at the same time, I just felt kind of sad because this is my second home. And I know that in order for me to be experiencing it this way means that there are a lot of people that are out of work or that my favorite place is hurting in some way, which makes me sad. So it's a strange feeling to be there right now for sure.
You think as well, and Michelle, a lot of the times that we go now, it's because of that. You look at the weekend of last year and then even February, like as a group together, and you're not even getting that. It's like weird that you're so used to being in groups
Yeah.
of people and going where there's like nobody there. It's sad watching. We watch it. Obviously, we have to watch it vicariously through like the vloggers that we watch, and it's like you say, it's great. I'd love to be in Diagon Alley with nobody there, but then it would always be in the back of your mind that you know what effect that's having on everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right, that's a negativity out the way.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yes, let's see if we can make things a bit better with some little things from Seth.
Hi, this is Seth Kabursky from the Unofficial Guides. I'm back with another look at all the little things that are new at the Universal Orlando Resort for September 2020. Let's start out with some news from the Halloween Horror Nights that almost was. If you are hoping to get your hands on the Midnight Syndicate limited release soundtrack album for Halloween Horror Nights, which was released in a limited edition of only 500 copies on vinyl recently at the Halloween Horror Nights tribute store in Universal Studios Florida, you are out of luck. They are completely sold out, and the creators have announced that there will not be a reprint.
Boo.
But you can pick up a new plastic pumpkin blow mold, similar to the Frankenstein mold that was already available, from a new vending machine that's been installed inside the Jack the Clown room at the tribute store. You can also console yourself with a new Jack the Clown or pumpkin spice donut from Voodoo Donuts in City Walk. These are currently available only to annual pass holders.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Speaking of annual pass holders, the Sapphire Falls and Aventura hotels are now closed as of September 8th. But annual pass holders can still get great discounts on rooms at Cabana Bay Beach Resort and Endless Summer Surfside Inn. Annual pass holders can now also pick up their free pin for September. This month's pin is themed to Revenge of the Mummy. As always, your best bet is to pick that up at the Toon Lagoon shops instead of waiting in line at the Universal Orlando Annual Pass Holder Lounge in Universal Studios Florida. Let's wrap up with some quick observations from around the theme parks. In Universal Studios Florida, a small stage has been erected at the end of Hollywood Boulevard. I'm not sure if that's for a private event or some other special happening later this fall. The Barney show is still temporarily suspended, but I've noticed the Barney characters all doing a socially distanced meet and greet not far from their theater in the Kid Zone area. Keep an eye out for them when you are heading back towards the Woody Woodpecker roller coaster. If you hop on the Hogwarts Express train from one park to the other, you'll notice that some signs have been installed warning guests that they are under constant observation. This is to remind them not to take off their masks or engage in other activities while on the ride. Over in Lost Continent, King Julian from the Madagascar movies has moved his meet and greet and is now appearing in Lost Continent, not far from the currently closed Poseidon's Fury attraction. And if you like the candy from Honeydukes in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, you can find select items from that store on sale for 50% off in both the Wizarding Worlds and at the large gift shops at the front of each park. And last but certainly not least, I'm thrilled to report that the Dementor animatronics have all returned to service in the Forbidden Journey attraction inside Hogwarts Castle. The Kuka Robo Arms, which control those animatronics, were under refurbishment, but they are now all operational again. Unfortunately, they didn't add hands to those Dementors like they have in California during the downtime. All right, that's going to do it for this time. I'll be back in another 2 weeks. Until then, I am Seth Kabursky from the Unofficial Guide to Universal Orlando. You can find me on Twitter at the UG Series, and I'm keeping an eye on all those little things at Universal Orlando for you.
They are missing the perfect thing on the Hogwarts Express. Constant vigilance is what it should be.
Yeah, it should. Yeah.
It should be constant vigilance. Cameras shouldn't work. Smuggle technology.
Yeah, I experienced that twice.
Really?
So, yeah, they definitely are super, super, like they say it at several points. So I guess to remind people to keep their masks on because it's an obvious place because you're in there by yourself with your family. So you're like, well, why can't I take a break? So I guess that's probably the main reason. But yeah, I was aware of the observation that we were under for many years, actually. So.
Okie dokie.
Not for me. No. That sounded really bad. No, we were there for an agency training trip that we put together. And one of my agents decided she wanted to lay down on the seat. It was just our agents in the room. She wanted to lay down, and somebody on the intercom came over and asked her to sit back up. And so she thought once we started moving, she was like, all right, I'm going to lay back down again. And then while we were moving, the door swung open super fast, and a team member poked his head in, like, I don't know if he was trying to scare us or be dramatic or what, but scared the you-know-what out of all of us. We all screamed and told her that she needed to sit up. So, yeah, I know they're watching us for sure.
Good, though, because people tend to get up to stupid things, and I don't mean stupid things.
Yeah.
When they think nobody's watching. Was, the whole complaint of that's why we can't have nice things, because people tend to draw on things or pick at things or whatever, because people are idiots.
And I always try, because of that experience, I always try to see where the camera is, and I can't find it to save my life.
Well, that's good. That's the point.
So I wonder if, like, the screen is like 2 ways or something. I don't know, but I can't figure it out.
No.
That record, that Horror Nights record, there's so many complaints because it seems to be, which is awesome. But the scalpers, you've already seen the scalpers.
Oh.
I think within an hour of it being sold out, they were on eBay for like $400.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I hate people who do that.
It just, I would love to have had one.
The problem is with these scalpers, it stops future things like this happening because the companies just go, do you know what? What's the point?
Did they limit the number that you could buy at one time?
No.
Why don't they do that?
I know.
Because we were watching Vincent Vision and he bought 3. Like, not for like to be or anything. He kept one for himself. He bought one for a friend, and then he actually did a giveaway with one, which I guess we didn't win.
Yeah.
But yeah, they should.
Yeah.
At least limit it to like one and then one for somebody else. Like if someone else goes, oh, can you get me one? That's fine, 2. But you could effectively go in and just buy half a dozen, I suppose, which is wrong. I don't know. Universal are probably happy because they just sold them. I mean, that's the whole point of the tribute store. Tracy and you were talking about it the other night, weren't we? That obviously with Horror Nights not going ahead, they're losing a crap ton of money.
Yeah.
So by opening the tribute store and doing all this cool stuff that they are doing is getting money when they wouldn't be ordinarily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The same with the pumpkin mold, because that's pretty awesome.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the
would love one of them.
Frankenstein one, and the pumpkin one's cool.
I know. I just missed that. I think they put it up in the store the day after I was there.
Typical.
And they're only like $6. It's like the next generation of the pressed penny, isn't it?
Oh, I don't know.
Know what I mean, though? Like, because
Yeah.
you get to do it yourself, put your thing in and press the button and watch it being made. I think they're pretty cool. And they could do a lot of stuff with them. Because it's custom.
yeah.
The custom one, because the pumpkin is the chainsaw pumpkin from Horror Nights. So it's not like a generic...
No.
Right.
No.
Yeah, the store is very cool, though. I didn't get to see the Beetlejuice part, but the other 2 parts were really, really awesome. That tribute store has become its own attraction.
It really
I had to wait.
Yeah.
I had to wait in line for probably 45 minutes to get in.
Wow.
It's funny because I'm trying to think back, because like the first year they did the tribute store was 25, when it used to be in the Aftermath where the Twister shop.
Yeah.
And that's when they had all because it was the anniversary year, they did all they had the carriage from like 20, or they had loads of the bike, the Terror Queen's bike and stuff like that. All that retro stuff from it, which was amazing.
Yes, it was.
And then, Michelle, you went the couple of years after that. Did they do a tribute store, 26, 27?
I don't know if they did it in 26. I know they for sure have done it the past few years, though.
Yeah, 28 and 29, I know they did. Well, obviously 29. We spent far too much time in there.
Because I've always made it a point. The past few years, I've made it a point to go in there and have my stuff sent back to the room. I don't know if they did it in 26, though.
Yeah.
25 was my first year there. And I didn't even go in there in 25. I was, again, my eyes were closed the whole time, so I probably didn't even see it was there.
Oh, no, because it was open during the day, because we went in there during the day as well.
Yeah. But this tribute store was Chris's first taste of Halloween Horror Nights at all.
Okay.
My 9-year-old daughter. And I made her take a picture next to Jack. And I was like, can you get closer? She's like, nope. I said, well, okay. Maybe it was a good thing that HHN was closed this year, because I was going to take her.
Yeah.
But she wouldn't even stand next. She was like, you promise me he's not going to move? I said, yes, he's not going to move. So
Bless her.
cute.
Yeah. What do you think of the voodoo donuts?
I don't think I've ever had anything pumpkin spice before, but it looked good. I love that the pretzel rod was the stalk on the top.
Yeah.
And the Jack one, I can't believe they've never done a Jack one before.
I know. Looks awesome.
I've said it before.
I'd eat them both.
I don't think voodoo donut is as good as everyone makes it out to be, but I love the fact that they still do
It depends on the donut.
custom, like universal Orlando specific donuts.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because the voodoo donut, the Jack one's a raspberry Bavarian cream,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Which, when I've seen it, it looks a little off-putting.
It looks very strange.
Yeah. But I'd still try it. And I love pumpkin spice.
Like I say, I don't think I've ever had anything pumpkin spice. So I don't even know.
Is that not a normal flavor of things over there in
No.
good old England?
No.
Once fall hits, it's everything
I know.
pumpkin
Yeah.
spice here.
Do we get anything?
No. Well, we did on the motorway coming home.
Only at Starbucks, and we
that was
don't have
vile.
a Starbucks.
It was yeah.
Yeah, it's not really a thing.
They didn't make, because I had a pumpkin spice frappe in the studios, and that was amazing.
That doesn't sound good to me.
It was really good. And then coming home when we were back over here, we stopped off. There was a Starbucks and they were doing pumpkin spice lattes, and I had one, and it was vile. But it was so expensive, I had to force it down.
Look, Michelle,
Yeah.
pumpkins haven't even been a thing over here until like the last 10 years. We
carved pumpkins at your mother's house before we were married, so it's at least 20 years.
As children, we used to carve out a turnip
Yes.
and carry a turnip round with a candle in it. Not a
A
pumpkin.
Swede, not a turnip. Turnips are small and easy to carve.
Turnip.
Swede, dear. Swedes are big and very hard.
And they smelled a lot.
If you were really poor, you got a potato.
I knew you were going to say, but
I
I've
did.
never had a potato.
And I was starving by the time I'd walked around with a potato with a candle in it, and I got home and it smelled like baked potatoes.
You get your tea afterwards as well. You go trick-or-treating and then eat your tea on the way home.
I forget Halloween's not a thing over there, is it?
It is, but
It's getting
it's
better.
getting there, definitely. But it's certainly nowhere near what it is in the US.
Yeah.
So surreal to think about. Such a big deal here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely getting. I don't know what the hell it'll be like this year, to be honest.
No, neither do we.
Yeah. I'm still going to buy all the sweets.
I just
All the ones that I like.
and go, oh,
come
no
round."
kids came. Oh well.
Nom, 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 nom. What did you get for Halloween? Fat.
Nothing wrong with that.
Oh, okie dokie. I shall move on to the Producers Club birthdays then. Got a nice little list here, actually. So, beginning on September the 8th, we have the lovely Chelsea Gonzalez birthday. Happy birthday!
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
And then we have the equally lovely Kelly Wood's birthday. That's September the 12th. Happy birthday!
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Kelly.
And then September the 15th sees Lonnie Clare's birthday. He's very lovely too. Happy birthday!
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
And then on the 18th of September, I don't know why I keep saying September, because they are all September. We have the delightful Shauna Roberts' birthday. Happy birthday!
Happy birthday, Shana. Welcome back to the club.
Happy birthday.
And that's followed by Zach Thurston's birthday on the 20th. Also lovely. Happy birthday!
Why is everyone lovely?
Because I can't leave anybody out.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
And then finally on the 21st, you can blame Lee for this then. Fine, it's Chris Haynes' birthday.
I think you're lovely, Chris.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Chris.
Happy birthday, lovely Chris. I knew I could say that. So, right.
I was hoping we might have got an announcement in the last 2 weeks that we could have talked about on the show.
I can make any announcement you want.
But
You can
apparently
talk about
not.
it. Right.
We will talk about it later, but I was expecting it to be a much bigger news item at this point, since certain things have happened, and they're still not acknowledging it.
Okay. Right. Well, while I work on my confusion, we'll take a quick ad break.
Have you taken a stroll down Diagon Alley and visited Gringotts Bank? Taken a ride through New York with Jimmy Fallon? Visited the truffle trees in Seuss Landing or hung out with a real-life transformer? No? Then what are you waiting for? At Universal Orlando Resort, there truly is an option for everyone. Or if you're leaning a little more towards pixie dust rather than wands and potions, Disney destinations around the globe await your arrival. No matter the adventure, our sponsors have you covered. Be sure to let the experts at Mouse & Muggle Travel Company take care of all your travel needs, earning the distinction of being an earmarked agency specializing in Disney destinations, as well as becoming one of the first to be named a U Preferred agency with Universal Parks and Resorts Vacations. Mouse & Muggle Travel Company will ensure you receive top-rated customer service. Just visit mouseandmuggle.com to fill out a no-obligation quote request, or send your request to info@mouseandmuggle.com. Their team can take care of you no matter where in the world you want to go. With a flick of their wand and a little bit of pixie dust, the process will be so seamless, some might even say it's simply magical.
Oh, welcome back, everybody. So, we're going to have a spew. It's been a while.
Yeah, Darren's not here.
Yeah. It's me. So, this may be a different kind of spew. Oh dear. But a spew nonetheless. The difference is that I was never able to find out the name of the employee and the experiences from Halloween Horror Nights October 2018. My oldest son was 17 and enjoying the night on his own. He's type 1 diabetes and had a malfunction with his glucose monitor. His blood sugar dropped and he sat down on the curb outside the Monsters Cafe. One of the cafe team members saw him, recognised the symptoms and immediately gave him a milkshake and an order of fries.
Wow.
Yeah, that's good.
That is.
Recognised that. By the time we got to know, he was feeling back to normal and got to enjoy the rest of the night. We went back several times so we could personally thank him, but we could never figure out who it was. I think about this situation every time we pass Monsters Cafe or enjoy a meal there. The situation could have easily taken a very quick turn for the worse, and I will be forever thankful for this unknown hero, Joni.
Yeah.
Aww.
That is
Giving
awesome.
goosebumps.
Yeah.
Because that's a situation where, like, a lot of the spews we get are kind of specific interactions with a team member. They've gone to guest services or they've had something happen and they've gone to a team member. This is a team member just minding his own business, seeing something happening and jumping on it. That is amazing. That's outstanding.
My daughter, my oldest 20-year-old daughter, Audrey, is type 1 diabetic. So I completely relate to this as a mother, and also know that those symptoms are very hard to notice if you don't have personal experience with it. So, and especially at Halloween Horror Nights, because how many people just sit down on the curb and look all hot and sweaty and sickly
drunk.
as it is for no reason at all, just because it's Halloween Horror Nights. You know what I mean?
Like, I'm not being funny. But I was like that. No one brought me a milkshake and fries out on that Friday night.
True.
And also, if it was after dark as well, it's so dimly lit as well for that to be spotted potentially as well. You know, so if you recognise yourself in this, give us a shout. You
can have all the team members going, "It was me. Yeah. I'm Brian, and so is my wife." It'll be all of that now.
Because this is. I'm not going to say above and beyond because that's the wrong turn of phrase. But, it's, as a parent as well, that's good to know that there's people who see this. All I can guess is that this person either is type 1 diabetic themselves or has a family member who is.
Because you think how busy Horror Nights is and how many people, like Michelle said, how many people you see sat on the curb, but to actually look and think, something doesn't look quite right there.
Well, I suppose they will monitor people in case they are intoxicated to the point where they may be vomiting and they're going to have a clear up or get somebody escorted off the premises.
Yeah.
So...
And it's every type 1, every person's different in their symptoms, but a lot of times somebody that is having a low blood sugar issue, they look drunk, they act drunk, they don't, they stumble over their words.
Yeah.
They're, they aren't acting right, so it's an easy mistake to make, but kudos to whoever was able to diagnose it and do the right thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not diabetic, but I have blood sugar drops and I get confused in myself and my speech gets a bit...
That's her excuse anyway.
Obviously
I'm having a drop now because I stumble over my words.
Audrey, she doesn't listen to the show, so I can say this. She acts like a total drunk person when she has low blood sugar. She gets like super emotional. So she'll go from really like laughing about stuff to crying in 2 seconds and you don't know why. And, one time we asked her to go in to get dressed, and she came back out with underwear on her head.
What? Well, you're like, okay.
Yeah. And like clueless. You're like,
Yeah.
why'd you do that, Audrey? She's like, what are you talking about? I had no clue.
Okay.
So we
that's
tested her
weird.
blood sugar, and it was super low. But yeah, so they act like drunk people for sure.
Yeah.
But
So that makes that even better than it's something like if it had just been during the day, you would have gone, oh yeah, but during horror nights, that's even more difficult.
yeah,
for
sure.
That's awesome.
But I'm glad Noah's okay.
Yes.
That could have been bad, but yay.
Yeah. If you've got a spew of any kind, preferably not the real kind, send it over to us. Type it up. Send it over as much detail as you can or can't remember. Send that to podcast@uuopodcast.com.
For those that don't know, S.P.E.W stands for the Society for the Promotion of Employee Well-Dones.
No, well-dones, not well-dones.
I didn't say well-dones.
Well-dones.
Especially now, we keep saying this every week when we do these. Working in a theme park is a hard job at the best of times. Right now, it's even more difficult.
Yes.
And I'm sure we appreciate every single one of those team members that's in there.
Yeah.
So if you've got one that's just made your day that little bit better, just drop us a line. And I think Darren said it before, we'd love to do an entire show of
that'd be
S.P.E.W.
awesome.
Would be brilliant.
Just cheering everybody.
It doesn't even need to be recent. If you've remembered one
No.
from 2, 3, 5, 10, whatever years ago, drop them in.
Exactly. Times are hard at the moment, so to spread a bit of kindness and have something happy to celebrate is nice, because it is, we do struggle. A lot of the news that's coming out is negative and down, and it's the climate. So to be able to have a happy moment in the show
Some
is
positivity,
nice. Yeah. So, yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
I've got some positivity for you.
Yes,
Okay.
tell us.
We kind of talked about this briefly earlier, but the last piece of the Velocicoaster, quote unquote, unannounced Jurassic Park coaster was put in last week. Yay! So that's good news.
Yes, it is.
Rock work and theming continues, and 4 Raptors have been placed throughout the attraction. How do we know they're Raptors, though? Because they were all wrapped up really well. So
That's how you know, because they are Raptors. Come on.
That's speculation, purely. But anyway, pictures have been circulating this weekend of the coaster trains being added to the track. An updated point of view was released on YouTube by Amusement Insiders recently, and it is shaping up to be an epic new ride at Islands of Adventure.
Michelle, have you seen that POV?
Not the new one. I didn't realize it had been updated.
Yeah, it only came out within about the last week, I think.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
I'll have to rewatch it then. I figured it was the same one.
So that top hat, like you've seen how high the top hat is.
Oh my God, yeah. And
It has trim brakes on it, so you hit the top of it and slow down.
Yeah.
no.
Yes.
Oh my God.
I mean, obviously it's speculation, but the people that put these together generally know what they're looking for in coasters and how it affects it. But you hit the top of that top hat and it slows right down as you go over the top of it. The view from the top of that is going to be phenomenal.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I watched this and I had a big grin on my face the entire time, and it came to the end of it. I turned to Lee and went, I can't wait to ride that.
Because it doesn't look super intense. My concern was when it went up, a lot of people speculating it was going to have, look, I've got 2 people here who know exactly how roller coasters can make me feel.
Yes.
And I was slightly concerned. I think it's got, did we work out there's 3 inversions?
3 inversions, I think. The
There's
Heartline.
There's a Heartline roll
Yeah.
in front of the Discovery Centre.
Yeah.
I think there's another upside down bit at some point, and then there's an actual, you go from
Like
quite a
sustained
bit
inversion, yeah.
upside down.
Which I love that.
Doesn't look massively intense. It looks like I think there's about 3 launches. It looks awesome.
Yeah. That top hat. Wow.
That's going to be the highlight of it.
Yeah.
So excited.
I think there was some stuff went around a week ago of concept art of a show scene with the Indominus Rex and some raptors that I think Alicia posted in the theme park stop. If that's true, I mean, there's a huge building in the middle of it. We've seen those raptors in place, and then the rock work that's going up looks phenomenal.
Awesome.
It really does.
Yeah.
And the track goes through it, a lot of it as well. It's I cannot wait.
I love that it's themed. I love the direction that Universal especially is still going in, where these coasters are still very themed,
Yes.
although it's a traditional coaster, like the Hulk or any of the others, but all the theming that surrounds it, just like with Hagrid's, makes it such just a different experience. So I'm excited. I can't wait.
Yeah, Tracy and
Still no rumors on dates though, right?
No.
Well,
Like I said, there's
no
no rumours on
acknowledgement of-
anything. Like, what coaster? What are you talking about? What we built? I don't know. What, walls?
It's just a shadow. Don't worry about it.
It's just a flying dinosaur.
There's nothing to see here, people.
Don't mind it.
It's so funny when you look at the approach from the two different companies, right? So Disney go, we're going to build Pandora 6 years before they actually build it. And that's not, I think it was literally 6 years.
Yeah.
Universal have a coaster. The last piece of track's just gone in. The trains are being plonked down on it. There's statues of Raptors being put in it. And they're still like, what coaster?
I know.
What are you talking
I don't know
about?
what you're talking about.
Because I thought when those Raptors, because they didn't hide them either, they brought them in through Toon Lagoon in front of everyone. You think there's an announcement coming this week? No,
They're just messing.
no.
No, they'll wait until tomorrow.
Well,
So they always do.
Why did they not bring them in at night
Exactly.
when crowds weren't
I don't
seeing
know.
them?
It's just
I
so
think they're just
weird.
having fun now. They've got to entertain themselves somehow.
But we've said this
guess
before.
so.
It's like, why pay your marketing department when you can bring it through and all the vloggers and bloggers and Instagram people
Well,
and
so is it the
you.
parks.
are doing it for you for free,
That's true.
and it probably goes more viral.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you're pretty smart.
Yeah.
That's very good. That's a very good point.
Because it is. Like, I put a post, I think it was Bioreconstruct who posts a lot of the like aerial shots and stuff, was a picture of the rockwork going up above one of the tracks. I posted that on our Instagram, and just on that Instagram post alone, we got nearly 600 likes on it, which is a lot for us. And you think as far as sort of internet Instagram fame, we're tiny.
Yeah.
So you see how easy that stuff goes viral. Why pay someone to do it when you can get people to do it for free?
Especially when your budget's already tight as it is.
Well,
So yeah, that
exactly.
makes sense.
Yeah, but they've always done it. They did it with Kong. Reign of Kong was virtually up and running before they actually announced it.
They probably have great fun behind the scenes. Look at all the speculation and...
Well, look, let's pull the curtain back slightly. We did a Producers Club special episode that will go out for the Producers Club next week with next week's episode, which we're going to sit down with Patrick Brillard, the guy who's just been released from Universal, who's been involved in a lot of stuff. And even he joked about the fact that it hasn't been announced yet.
Yeah.
And it's like when the people that work there are doing it, it's just so bizarre. I just don't get it. Unless they're not planning to open it for quite some time.
Maybe.
Like,
Well,
not
I
even
mean, we
next
all know
year.
what happens with crowds when they open a new ride. So
Yeah.
But then they opened the Born Stuntacular right at the beginning of this.
yeah,
I
but
know
that's
it's not
a
quite a coaster, but even so, it's still a new attraction. You know people are going to want to go for it. It's so weird. It is weird.
Well, we'll find out at some point.
It's just all that everyone's going to get to ride it before us, as usual.
Maybe. Maybe not.
Well, maybe
Maybe
not.
not.
We don't know.
If it opens Friday the 22nd of October, I'm there, man. Next year, not this year.
Well, I hope that they take their time a little bit more this time than they did with Hagrid's and work out the kinks.
Yes. Is it the same?
Because
Yeah, it's
we
the same
definitely don't
company
want
as
crowds sitting in line indoors right now.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
we had to sit for hours just waiting for Hagrid's to go back online.
It's the same company. I think it's an Intamin as well, but I don't think it's going to have the issues Hagrid has, because you haven't got like the peak and like the backtrack or the drop, or you haven't got a lot of the elements that Hagrid's has. It's just a bog standard coaster.
An awesome looking bog
It
standard
is, but it's not
coaster.
like
But
Hagrid's
it hasn't got the
elements.
complications.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other coasters don't have.
Yeah.
It's just a pretty straightforward out and back coaster. But yeah, it does look awesome. And we were talking about, I can't remember who we were watching. We've said Jurassic Park needed something to
It does,
make it
yeah.
a land to visit
Yeah.
for a long, long, long time. It's needed. It's never been a draw for us. The first couple of times you go at the river adventure, and then it's a pass through, because if you're not riding water rides, it's not somewhere we would generally go. Now it's going to have that element of a ride you want to go on, but also adding dynamics to the front of the park. You're going to walk up to port of entry, and the first thing you're going to see is that coaster going, which people are going to be like, hell yeah, get me to the back of there.
Yeah.
You're going to have people pulling both ways now. Do I go to Hagrid, or do I go to the Raptor coaster?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I just hope they put all the greenery back.
I think they will.
I hope so, because for all
I think
it is,
you need to.
For all it is, to all intents and purposes for us, a pass through. I always loved walking through there because it was so lush.
Yeah.
I've said that for years. So lush and green, and even though it's a bit humid in there.
Look at
I hope so. But it needs to be, because the Jurassic time was very lush and green.
I don't know, because it's...
Well, no, if it's Jurassic, it needs to be.
Yes, but it's Jurassic World, not Jurassic Park, and the Jurassic World looks a very different look to the Jurassic Park look, and I still think that in the next few years, well, maybe not now because of what's going on financially, but I think they had every plan to change the River Adventure into the Jurassic World one that's in Hollywood. And again,
so are they changing the sign to entry into the land to say Jurassic World?
It doesn't look like it. It's just going to be this weird amalgamation of the two. I would like to see them change the whole land to it, like change the Discovery Center to look like the one from the new film.
Oh, God, yes, that'd be amazing.
Because I really like it. I think that whole dynamic would look really well, because I'll be honest, I'm much more of a fan of the Jurassic World films than I am the Jurassic Park films.
Me too.
And I know Andy's going to be sat there now smashing his iPod off the wall, but I don't care.
Well, there's a lot they can do with that land, for sure. There's so much in that whole series of movies that they could use. But I agree. The greenery needs to come back, because it is hot as hell walking through there right now.
Yeah, it was weird when we came over last October, the first time we'd been there and walked through it, and I just you had no point of reference to where you were in that land.
Yeah, it's just walls and concrete, and you just feel like you're in an oven.
Jesse, was I imagining it?
I don't know.
Was the mosasaur in the lagoon in the POV we watched, or am I imagining that?
Are you reading my mind?
Are you thinking the same thing? Did you imagine it or not?
No, but I'm just thinking. I was trying to think what it was called, which is really weird. No, I was thinking that they missed a trick with the construction walls. There should have been LED screens to look like water.
Yeah.
With mosasaur and
things
swimming, and they could have just had somebody with a hose pipe stood behind, just the splash zone.
Yeah.
Just the construction workers throwing stuff over every now and then.
It's good though, again, because I think it speaks to where Universal are going. It goes back to the little podcast documentary I did a few months back, that Universal, for all they've set themselves up to be a competitor to Disney, they're still not trying to out Disney.
No,
not
they're
at all.
They're just trying to do Universal. Like, they could have gone with a kiddie ride, and they haven't. They still, they kind of, for how many people were disappointed when they got rid of Dueling Dragons, that people still miss it, even though Hagrid's is awesome, because it was, people go, there was 2 coasters and you've only replaced it with 1. Well, there's another one for you as well.
Yeah. Which is a smart strategy. As much, and Universal is by far my favorite, but they're not going to outdo Disney at Disney's game. Like, I'm sorry, Disney just has that child imagination thing locked in, because Walt Disney started all that. So you can't really compete with that, but they're doing amazing, doing their own thing. And I hope they stick to it.
Yeah, I hope they do. It's one of the things that Tracy and I fell in love with when we went for the first time, is that, you don't hear it as much now. But it used to be a standard line. I think the only time you generally hear it now is in the horror makeup show, and it's like, this isn't Disney, kid, I don't have to be nice to you. And we used to hear that all the time, and it was brilliant. I always remember it was, I hear
it every time I go.
During Halloween Horror Nights, the first time we went, and I went to get something to eat, and for God's sake, in Circus McGurk, because I don't know why we go in that frigging place, it's awful. And the guy I can't remember what happened. I said something, I don't have to be nice to you, this isn't Disney, And I was like, that's brilliant, I love it. But yeah, they're definitely embracing. It did look like they were trying to go down that route a little bit of of grabbing kids a little bit more, but I'm glad they've kind of gone, do you know what? We're not that. This is who we are, and this is the way we want to go.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so before we wrap up the show, we've got a couple of little things to add to Seth's. We saw posted on the UUOP group this weekend that it looks like Universal Orlando have added another UUOP exclusive dining lounge. This time it's downstairs in the Jurassic Park Discovery Centre, and that's for guests dining at Burger Digs.
I've never been to Burger Digs.
Have I been to Burger
I like them.
Digs?
It's
No.
good.
That was Pizza. Was it Pizza Predator?
No,
or
we
you
went to
where'd you go and
Thunder
get-
Falls Terrace.
Oh, that's where you got me something in there.
which was
didn't you?
decent. Yeah.
It was nice.
What's it like, Michelle?
Burger Digs, it's like Mel's, but
So then.
not. I mean,
yeah.
it's the same. It's pretty much the same menu.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
yeah, but it's weird how they keep... Because that one, they announced Confisco. They announced Lombards. This one just seems to have popped up.
Or popped down.
Down.
The case may be.
Well, that's it. It's not open at the moment, so you might as well use it for something. And you give your pass,
Yeah.
knowing that a lot of the people there are pass holders, and you give them that. I'm still annoyed that all those people got to go into Navigators Club.
Well, it happens.
That doesn't mean I'm not going to be annoyed about it.
So they put a bunch of tables downstairs. That's all they're doing,
Yeah.
basically, or is it a separate menu?
No, it's ordering from the same menu. They just took a load of tables down there.
I suppose just
That
bit
seems silly.
Why?
Well, what's the benefit of that?
As a pass holder, you'd have to sit with a riffraff upstairs.
spreading people out a
The
bit more.
riffraff.
And you get to, come on, I know it's the Discovery Centre and it's a bit nowadays, but getting to dine in there would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, but it would be pretty hard trying to carry a tray full of drinks and food
I think
down
they
those
bring
stairs.
them to you. From what
Oh,
I
they bring them to you?
gather, the post that I saw said that this family had gone, the kid wanted pizza, so they went to Pizza Predatory and they couldn't, so they got passed over to Burger Digs, and the team member realised they were annual pass holders and sent them downstairs. So I'm assuming they ordered and brought it down to them, I think. I don't actually know.
Well, that would make it okay.
Mm.
That'd make it a benefit.
Because there's an elevator down. I know they went down in the elevator, not like they didn't walk down the stairs.
Right. There's just one. So if I'm just imagining a whole bunch of people trying to wait for this elevator to go down. But if they're bringing it, then that's cool. Because it is usually kind of hard to find a table at that location.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, another thing they don't have to do, but it's pretty
No,
cool.
no. It's also keeping people apart for a bit.
Yeah.
So, we thought we'd also add in here that this past weekend saw all 3 Universal parks hit the modified capacity. Yeah, they were heaving.
I didn't actually look to see what it was like today.
No, I didn't see today. Studios 9 saw wait times up past the hour mark for most of the heavy hitters, even seeing a 180-minute wait at Shrek 4D. What
That is
the heck, people?
insanity. They must not know what they're waiting for.
No.
That's all I've got to say.
I think people just wanted to ride. I don't know. I don't even know.
That's crazy.
It's mental.
It is. According to Chris and Alexa, though, today was dead.
Really? See, that's
Yeah.
weird. I find it weird that the week... I know it's... Because you could argue that the weekends are busy because of the ticket deal. But it's still Labour Day weekend, so Labour Day's today is the actual holiday, so people would still be...
Or people are travelling home.
Yeah, most people are probably traveling home.
Yeah.
I'm just having a look now. Hagrid's at 45. Simpsons at 45. Gringotts is 60. Shrek's 25.
Yeah, so it's back to a normal day.
Yeah.
Still
I'm
wouldn't wait
still
24.
surprised that they allowed so many people in
Yeah,
over
me
the
too.
weekend, though, because that was, I mean, that was nuts.
No.
Well, was it Vincent? We watched Vincent and the security hub to get in. So there was like the 2 moving walkways. You went down the left-hand side, back round the moving walkway, round the other side, up the moving walkway, and then back round the other side. So like
Oh my God.
triple switchback to get through security. It was mental.
Yeah.
That sounds like hell.
Yeah. It looked it.
I hate going through that security hub one time, let alone having to do switchbacks through it.
It was
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
No.
I mean,
No
look,
way.
going back to kind of the conversation we've already had, if you're happy with it doing that, people, then you go, because you're bringing money into the parks and you're keeping
Yeah.
it going for everyone else. If that's what you're happy with, then have at it.
Look, to be honest, to be fair, even without a pandemic, I'm not comfortable in that anyway.
No.
So
I thought it was quite interesting that Chris and Alexa chose this weekend to go. Because I know
I was
Alexa's...
surprised too, yeah.
Yeah, Alexa's not the most comfortable with things, but this is the third time they've been up, and they spent all weekend there.
well, Disney, Universal are obviously doing something right then if she's feeling comfortable enough to go back. So that's actually very positive.
For sure. Well, and in their defense, I think their main goal was just enjoying their time at the hotel and at the hotel pool. So understandably, and them going into it with that attitude, knowing that the parks were going to be crazy, attitude is everything. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm just still really surprised that Universal made the capacity so high, seeing how insane those crowds were and how long the waits were. I mean,
the thing is, we don't know what the capacity is. This is the problem. If they're socially distancing everything, so for something like Shrek, for example, you don't know how many people they're allowing into the theatre at each time. I still don't know how many people want to go on it. It's ridiculous.
I know in Bourne, they're separating families by 3 seats.
Right.
So I'm assuming they would be doing the same in Shrek.
Yeah, I mean, they're crazy wait times.
And where's the extended queue for 180-minute wait for Shrek with social distancing?
Oh, I have no
How is
idea.
that possible?
I do not know.
Next state, isn't it?
It's just
Good
mental.
grief.
Especially when every attraction's got that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there are lots of attractions that they know that are going to have long waits, and so they build in that queue, like Hagrid's, for instance. But Shrek, where do you put those people?
Yeah, let me find my Instagram because I posted a picture from on Monday. Not Monday, Sunday. So on Sunday, at a specific time, I don't know what time it was, The Incredible Hulk was at 80 minutes, The Simpsons was at 85, Shrek was at 180, Kong was at 120, Transformers was at 75, Dudley Do-Rights was at 90, E.T. was 50, Flight of the Hippogriff was 50, the Hogwarts Express One Way was 85, even One Fish, Two Fish was 40 minutes, The Cat in the Hat was 40 minutes, and the High in the Sky Zoo's Trolley Train Ride was 45 minutes.
Oh my God.
Oh.
That can't be fun.
No.
It was too busy in February for us, everything was upwards of 45 minutes. I can't imagine walking in and seeing Shrek at a 180-minute wait and thinking, holy what parallel universe is this we're in?
Well, and they sold out express passes.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
So if I had been a guest at Hard Rock or Royal Pacific, and I would be just as ticked off, because if they have sold out the ones that are for sale, then even the express lines were probably pretty long.
Yeah, because I'm glad you mentioned that. Actually, it made me think. Again, Tracy and I were talking about it. So the interesting thing was there was a thing on Twitter, somebody asking about getting to and from the parks, and Universal basically went, if you want to go from one to the other, use the Hogwarts Express.
Yeah.
Because if you leave, you're not guaranteed.
You might not get back in.
Yeah. And then another thing of people asking about hotel guests. I'm a hotel guest. If I decide I want to go into the park at 3:00, but it's at capacity, can I still get in? And the answer was yes. As a hotel guest, you are classed in that capacity. So you get priority.
Well,
so when we talked about our trip this year for October, and we started to speculate about how Halloween Horror Nights would work, knowing realistically that hotel guests would get priority, that staying on site now is worth its weight in gold more than it ever has been.
Yeah.
Yes. It's been quite a good selling point for us.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
craziness.
Yeah, it is. It's just...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no other word for it, really.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
That's like...
I was not jealous at all.
No.
Of all the people that were there this weekend. Usually I am a little bit when I see Chris and Alexa or Darren and Nina there, but this time, nope. I'm good.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't have fancied it much.
Even having to wait to get into the pool or to get into the lazy river at Cabana Bay.
Yeah.
No.
It's just crazy.
Yeah.
And then, see, that's ridiculous, because once you're in the lazy river, how would you socially distance? The water takes you where the water takes you.
Yes, it does.
It's just...
Which was my point about Volcano Bay.
Yes.
Like, you know, masks everywhere. And then Volcano Bay, there's no corona here. I'm like literally floating on top of strangers.
Yep.
But the weird thing is as well, you look like those weights, everything 60, 70, 80 upwards. Yet tomorrow, the place will be dead.
Mm-hmm.
Dead. Yep.
Dead. Like down to walk-ons for everything.
Yeah.
And it's so weird. I was talking to a friend of ours who was our tour guide at Halloween Horror Nights last year, and he was saying it was eerily quiet. I think it was a week on Friday. I was talking to him, and he said it's eerily quiet in the parks, and it must be so for people who work there to be like out and about and it just be dead, like quiet. It must be so weird.
Yeah.
You must worry. You must worry about your job. It's like working in a job like mine when you haven't got much working, you know, and we can't keep going like this for the foreseeable future. Something's got to give, and it must be difficult to do your job a little bit, actually.
Well, there's definitely some of that energy that you feel being in the parks is not there.
Yeah.
Which I felt it even stronger at Disney when I spent a few days there about a month ago. Because Disney, there are two different energies that you feel from Disney versus Universal. Universal, it's literally an energy, you know. It's some type of a high. Whereas at Disney, it's a magic. You know, there's some type of like childlike magic that is just at Disney. It's just flat out not there, not even a little bit. Not being able to see people's faces and children's faces, smiling and having fun and running up and meeting characters, and that magic just wasn't there. Whereas at Universal, I still felt good. Like I've still felt an energy, but it's just not quite the same. And you can tell it from the team members, because usually the team members, not all of them, but a lot of them are, you know, they love their jobs. They're happy to be there. But when the crowds and the people coming through wherever they're working are so few and far between, they get kind of like, you know, and it is kind of sad.
Well, we managed to bring it back down for the end, didn't we?
We sure did.
Yeah.
It'll get there.
Oh,
it'll bounce back.
Yeah.
And again, we talked about hopefully by the weekend of next year, everything will be back, and it'll just be a glorious celebration of everyone getting back together.
We can
my God.
It will be amazing.
It'll be amazing.
It really will.
If the first one that we had was so amazing, I just can't even imagine how this one will feel.
Yeah.
I know.
A big, like you say, a big celebration of everything, hopefully being somewhere back to normal and everyone being able to get together and just...
I think normal's going to be a new construct going forward.
Well, you know what? I'm just going to give you a warning right now. I'm hugging.
I don't give
Hey, do you think I'm not going to?
So I'm hugging. So all of my friends from the Weekender last year, if you come to this one, I'm hugging you. So that's just how it's going to be.
Me too.
Yep. Need my hugs.
And it's going to feel amazing because I'm so tired. I'm not even a people person. Robin's the people person. And I'm not the people person here. But
it's funny. I said
that.
Yeah, I said today to somebody else. It might have been yesterday. The one thing I brought out of this whole pandemic thing is I've actually found out I'm quite a sociable person.
Oh, hang on.
What?
You looked at me funny when I said, you know what, the one thing I've brought out of this, I've realised I am a people person, that I
didn't say I was a people person.
People in my life.
I said I was a bit sociable. More than I realised.
Michelle, you've seen Tracy.
On my
She's
terms.
a sociable person.
I am, but I like my own space because I've had to put up with you lot forever.
But you know what I miss the most is seeing people's faces.
Yeah.
Like I'm a people watcher. I could just sit in Halloween Horror Nights and watch people for an hour or two and just enjoy that. It's so hard for me not seeing people's faces. I think I rely so much on that. Oh, hi Lee, I can see his face.
That's all you get.
But I miss that.
Yeah.
You know? So,
yeah. It will be
Next
awesome.
year will be amazing.
It will. It's going to be tiring because, as I say, we're doing what? 28 days in a 43-day period.
We're doing 28 days.
What did I say? Did I say 28?
Yeah.
18.
14.
18.
18.
Hang on, how long are we going out for?
8 the first time, 10 the second time.
We're going out for 10 days the second time.
We did agree that we would fly out on the Monday instead of the Wednesday, so we could have a couple of days to ourselves and go to a big fire.
Yeah, we know how that works.
Well,
Never
now
happens.
you just told the world that you're going to be there 2 days early, so there
Sorry,
goes that alone time.
You told me as well.
Well, we have had that conversation.
Yeah. Yeah, but there's been a lot gone on since.
The only way you'll get alone time is if you tell nobody that you're there.
Yeah.
No, I just tell people to...
You would not.
Yeah, right.
You
No,
would
you won't.
not. You didn't last time.
It's different. We'll be out there for...
I had to tell people to leave you alone, not you.
I need to know who these people have told to leave me alone.
That's when you finally went back to your room and actually rested because
didn't
I
rest.
told you to.
Who are these people you said to
Is that weird?
leave him alone?
Hang on. Is that when we end up having a party in our room?
When did we have a party?
Oh,
And
God.
Darren came in trashed.
Oh, no, that was after registration.
That was hilarious.
Yeah.
Everyone was at that point. Chris's punch. Anyway,
Anyway,
time.
it's going to be amazing. It's going to be
Yes.
amazing. We have something to look forward to.
yes, I'm
Yes,
going to plug
we
it
do.
actually. So if you want to keep up with information for the Weekender, let me just find the page. If you go over to UUO Podcast, facebook.com/UUO Podcast, under the events tab, there will be a UUOP The Weekender, the sequel to register your interest. And when we've got any information, we will post it in there. We're just discussing something before we started recording, actually, didn't we? A little bit that we may, hopefully, will come off. You have no idea already, do you?
Right. I will reiterate. I'm running on 90 minutes sleep.
I did that for an entire week.
Bully for you. Hang on. You did that for an entire week. I slept less than you.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
No, you didn't.
Okay.
No, you didn't.
Okay.
You both slept less than you should have.
Yeah. Well,
I slept as much as I could have. That was the only thing.
I studied an hour every day as well. While he slept.
Drug you up
I
next
didn't
time.
sleep. That's the problem. I might have been laid there, but I wasn't
Snoring.
asleep. No. Anyway, get on with it.
Okay.
We've gone off on a complete...
Oh, what a surprise.
Come to the Weekender next year. It will be awesome.
Yes.
So.
And you can hear banter like this in person.
Oh, yeah.
Our world famous Zeus landing tours.
Come and watch Mum and Dad fight in real life.
I didn't. I hardly saw you.
I know, it was awesome.
I'm not bothered.
I
You
know.
shall have me. I don't care.
That's fine. I had my Chris. It's okay. Okay then, on that note, that's going to do it for another episode of the unofficial Universal Orlando podcast. Thank you for joining us. It's been a blast. So we're going to wrap up the show with another Universal Liz, and this one comes from Jeremy Sulik. I hope I pronounced that right. If I haven't, let me know. If you want to be involved, just drop an email to podcast@uuopodcast.com, letting us know what you think Universal is in 3 words or less. And Jeremy says, Universal is my personal Viagra. See you next week.
Guess that wraps things up for another unofficial Universal Orlando podcast. You guys did all right. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Pinterest, keyword UUO Podcast. Listen and subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, or anywhere podcasts are found. You can find our blog at uuopodcast.com. Send us your spews, which Lou gets your poo recordings, questions, or comments to podcast@uuopodcast.com. Check out our friends, the Theme Park Duo, and our awesome sponsors, Mouse and Muggle Travel Company. So, until next time, don't give up your day job. Say cheese. See you later.